It's Tuesday, November 24th. Coming up live on The View. They're the hottest topics on TV. From John and Kate going off the air and going off on the show that made them famous, to whether 9/11 terror suspects not wanting lawyers will lead to courtroom chaos, and the shocking ring of schoolyard bullies who target their prey on Facebook. Plus, Old Dog star Robin Williams is revealing how he managed to calm down long enough to recuperate from heart surgery, how he's handling single life, and what went on backstage with Whoopi at Comic Relief. Then, brothers and sisters, Matthew Rhys is telling the co-host why The View keeps coming up on his show, and how tough it is for a straight Brit to play a gay American. All that, hot topics, and more coming up live on The View.
Child. Okay, before we do anything else, you know we love Paula Deen. We love Paula Deen. Yeah. But has this ever happened to anybody that you know? Can you roll that, Mark?
There's Paula in the purple.
Paula.
Is that a ham?
And there looks like to be a ham. Now, the ham was tossed, but Paula Deen wasn't watching at the moment. She turned and got her face full of ham.
But why are they tossing a ham?
Well, because you're tossing it. She was at a ham tossing.
But you remember that episode in the Brady Bunch where Marsha Brady got hit with the football? And she's like, my nose.
Actually, no. My daughter may remember it, but not me. It's crazy. She was donating 25,000 pounds of meat to a homeless shelter for Thanksgiving. Yeah. She iced down her nose and laughed it off. But, you know, she said, I got hit by a hole. It was so much fun. Yeah, she's actually fun. But just the idea, when you're not expecting it, you turn and...
Yeah.
You know, yeah. You know, especially if it's a guy you don't want to see. But that's another conversation. You know, we've just begun to talk about this kind of controversy over the 9/11 terror suspects getting a civil trial here in New York City. People are now saying, because there are reports saying they want to act as their own lawyers, critics say it's just going to give them a soapbox to air their anti-American views. I mean, people are really torn by this.
Well, I am confused by the whole thing. On the one hand, you know, you want to see what's going to happen. Are they going to televise it?
I don't know.
This isn't the Super Bowl. This isn't a show. This is something that is incredible.
Wait, can I finish my thought?
Sure.
So, on the one hand, I want to see it. On the other hand, I'm afraid of what will happen because of it. So, I think most people are feeling like I am. Because I believe in free speech. I want to see all of it. But even Obama, the whole thing is weird. I mean, he says things like, you know, they will be brought to justice and then they will be executed. That's an oxymoron. Right there.
Why? You can't, not if justice is their execution.
If you're already planning to kill them, then how is this a fair trial?
But don't prosecutors say that when you see them on the news interviews?
Up too, is my point.
No, but when you see people on TV and they go, we are sure that, you know, we're going to get a guilty verdict for this thing. Isn't that what Holder?
To walk a final line.
What about the fact
Eric Holder can say it, but
Eric Holder had this to say about the whole thing.
Who?
No. Eric Holder, when asked why this was happening, if this had ever been done before, he had no clue. Right. The problem here is that if this trial has a chance of giving jihadists a full platform to just use for propaganda as well as expose our military intelligence technique, why do it? Why do this? In 1993, okay, Andy McCarthy,
hang on. The military technique.
I'll tell you why it had happened before. In 1993, Andy McCarthy, okay, he prosecuted the World Trade Center bombings. This is what he has to say. Nothing results in more disclosures of government intelligence than civilian trials. That should be a message loud and clear to our president. We're on a two-front war. Why?
She's very upset. This morning she's telling me she wants to move out of New York City.
Hey, that's personal. Do you want me to dig on your personal stuff? Let's keep it between. It's like Vegas back there. Hey, sister.
No, come on. Oh, calm down. We all want to move out of the city when we're scared of terrorism.
Don't do that. Okay.
You know, everybody's scared.
This is not a show. Most people don't want to see this because it will do nothing but bring danger to this world. Those terrorists wanted. They were so lucky. The fact that we caught what they did on tape. Now knowing it's going to be videoed all over it, they're going to do it again.
I don't feel that scared about it.
Didn't, you know, under Cheney's authority, you know, they did so much of this stuff, and we didn't know anything about what was going on during the Bush reign, and now maybe people want to see what the heck is happening.
So it's Bush that's on trial then,
not
KSM.
I'm not saying anything about him being on trial. I'm going, but I think maybe do some people want to know?
Then put the administration on trial. Don't mask Khalid Sheikh Mohammed as the defendant when you really want to go after the Bush administration. Grab your stack and put who you want to
This is not what the conversation is. What I want to know is how do you feel about whether they should be doing this? You don't like that they're going to maybe get a platform. We don't know if it's going to be televised, so we don't know what's going to happen. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Because I feel like I don't.
We were going on to Bush, and I wanted us to stay on this because I know Sherri hadn't spoken.
I don't agree with them getting the same civil rights that we would afford to other people. That bothers me. I just, you know, their whole intent was to wipe us out and to kill us. And the fact that they will be able to, you'll be able to say, no, well, they don't want attorneys to represent them. But, you know, we may not be able to admit this evidence because it's against I don't like that.
But everybody's always bragging about the American justice system as the best in the world, and we're open and everything, and then we don't do it. For them, I don't get it. It's like, why not see what let's see it. I want to see it.
I don't want to see it because, you know what, I'm not going to get my popcorn ready for a show that's going to cost our lives here on our soil. It's not going to happen.
That's going to happen. You don't know yet what's going to happen.
Okay,
everybody's running scared.
It's a lot of speculation.
We could run scared on a lot of topics in this country, and we don't.
Maybe we should have tried to figure out whether they were televising it or not.
Well, I don't know.
That we don't know.
The
and so
media
that
coverage was going to happen.
I don't know if I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm not bring it all the way out here and do all of this stuff, and they're not going to let me in there.
I'm not sure. As I said, I'm not sure. So I don't know. I don't know why they're doing it the way they're doing it. Yeah. You know, maybe they want to show the world that, as Joy was saying, we have a system where we judge people fairly.
Better than they are. Let's show
maybe that's it. Maybe it's this whole thing that we're trying to sort of get back who we say we are. I don't know.
I mean, there is a propaganda war that will go on. You're right.
Absolutely.
But our propaganda, or our truth, as we say it, it could be stronger than theirs.
They don't earn rights. They don't earn illegal
a democracy. Look, Bush is always talking for 8 years about bringing democracy around the world. Let the world see what democracy looks like.
Wait a minute. Democracy doesn't involve an illegal combatant out of uniform who promises to blow up any American citizen for their faith. It doesn't make any sense to give an illegal combatant our rights. Yeah.
So the only difference then with them and what's his name who blew up the Oklahoma? What's his name? Timothy McVeigh. Is that he was an American citizen? Is that your objection to that they're not Americans?
They're illegal. No, it's not about Americans because we have rules in terms of wartime. Okay. They are illegal. They're not playing by the rules of war. We have them for a reason. They've been established by convention after convention. Illegal enemy combatants out of uniform promising to kill us in the name of Allah. They don't deserve our trials.
What about the guy at Fort Hood then? He's a legal American murderer.
Yes, but he's in uniform. He's in uniform.
Would you differentiate between him and them?
I don't think he's been classified as an illegal enemy combatant. However, it was deemed as an act of war when you saw those inverted rifles in the boots with the helmet on top by the president. The action there said that was an act of war.
But they're going to try him in the military court.
Because it was a military event.
It was a military event. Yeah. So there's so much in part of this. But, you know, it's not just this that's confusing. Dozens of kids in California school are accused of seeking out kids with red hair to beat up. Last Friday, they may have been inspired by a Facebook message saying it was a Kick a Ginger Day. Now, ginger is a label given to redheads.
And it's promoted on South Park.
It was, they had an episode on South Park. But I think, you know...
I don't know. Just saying.
I just rolled my eyes.
Just saying.
For this one here...
I'm so glad I'm black.
They were... She was not talking about us, Wolfie.
You know, when two white girls fight, right. It's a bore.
Yeah, it's
Stop. It's boring. No, it ain't boring. Not at all.
You were saying,
For
Chef.
this one, I think this one is because it was more than one incident, and the school hasn't. They're working on this now, but I think that expulsion is necessary because I think what's next? Is it going to be somebody else? And I think that you got to make it so severe. You got to have such a zero tolerance level that the kids know if we do anything, we're not going to be able to go back to school.
I actually know someone whose kids are at this school, okay? And the school was initially trying to just, I think, contain it in terms of a couple of cases. There were more. It should be expulsion. It should go on their permanent record. And one of the cases they said could be with a deadly weapon, so we might even see some criminal
But I think that the police are not calling it a hate crime, and I think they should.
Well, yeah,
because
anytime,
targeting
anytime you are targeting a group, it is a hate crime.
Yeah. Do you remember that experiment they did in school with the blue-eyed kids and the brown-eyed kids? And the teachers separated them and said, okay, you're in the brown eyes and you're in the blue eyes. It didn't matter what their reality was. And the blue-eyed kids were considered not good. And the brown-eyed kids got to feel really good about themselves and turning on the other kids and making the other kids feel bad. The minute you focus on another group in a negative way, bad things happen. And I don't think that South Park should be let off the hook so easily either. For the fact that they were, they've been pushing this side of thing on that show. Which
but this is, again, you know what South Park is. South Park has never, it has always, always done stuff that's incorrect. Always.
Well, I mean, it's just a good lesson to remind people that, sometimes we have to put these crazy laws in order for people to sort of recognize where the line is, where the line of being a human to human being, as opposed to a blackhead to blonde or a weave to dread.
Just FYI, I'm not a natural redhead. I'm just saying.
Yes, well, are you saying that the curtains don't match the drapes?
I don't really want to kick you.
You know what? We'll have no more kicking when we come back. We're coming back with more Hot Topics. Come back.
White girl.
So happy I got to stay and watch the show.
Yeah, it was so nice of him to stay and watch.
You're fans of each other.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
I guess so. Thank you so much.
Thank
it was
you.
unbelievable. Thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah, we enjoyed it too.
Last night was the final episode of John and K + 8. And so what did we learn from 5 seasons with the Goslings? 5 seasons?
Nothing.
Okay, there we are. So. That's it. And nothing else to say.
Well, now, there was a point to be made about it.
Well, then make it.
Yeah, the point was that John Gosselin has said that he's mad that the station TLC exploited his children, exposed the children to pedophiles, and the children did not get paid for it. I'm smelling Father of the Year here. I mean, this guy, now he says this, he puts them out there, and now he's ticked off that they didn't get paid. And they're going to be exposed to pedophiles.
I'm not buying it.
Didn't he know that in the first place?
I'm not buying it. When I first came here, we started talking about them. What's the first thing I said?
What the hell?
Yes, that was the first thing. But what about the kids?
Yeah.
What about the kids? Well, now everybody's in touch with it. 6 years later, I'm sorry, no.
Yeah, and it's a normal thing, I think, logical to not put your children in that situation. You know they're going to be exploited.
Come on. She's going to be a single mother now. She's got 8 kids.
That quote is interesting, though, the more I think of it. Because if you listen...
Who's going to take a woman with 8 kids?
He's not, listen, I don't know whether he's not going, listen, that doesn't mean a damn thing. He is not going anywhere. They are stuck together, please. Yesterday was the last show, good for them.
Well, I'm sure they'll have a reunion show.
But what about, okay, you want to talk about somebody who's fabulous? Pilot Chesley Sullenberger and his wife Lori say that after he, yes. All right. After he made headlines for a water landing of the plane in New York's Hudson River, the quote hero sex that followed really helped their 20-year marriage. Yeah. He added that it was rock star sex.
Boy.
I have to tell you, Sully, The rock stars are not quite what they're cracked up to be, babe.
Yeah, but it's something about...
I can tell you that from experience.
It's something about knowing your man has saved lives that is such a turn on. You just look at your husband in a little bit of a different way. You, baby, you saved all of their lives. Get over here and take your clothes off. I mean, it's just...
It's a definite turn on when a man does something heroic, like even taking out the garbage. Start there.
Start in your little immediate surroundings, huh?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Okay.
Good for him.
Well, good for he's a great.
You don't get that when a guy does something like that.
Either a guy is or he isn't to me.
Oh.
So I don't have to wait for him to save somebody. Come and get me.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. But there is something about the rescue fantasy that turns women
I don't
on.
have those fantasies,
Cinderella,
man.
Snow White, all those. All of
That-
that is about that.
Long gone from the whoop. Now, Sherri, I don't know why that's there, but tell everybody else what you have going on.
Okay, everybody knows that I have a sitcom called Sherri on Lifetime. So please watch it. It's on tonight from 9 to 11 with an original episode at 10, and it's a wonderful show. I'm so proud of it. So take a look at it tonight, 9 to 11 on Lifetime.
It's a fun show, Sherri.
Yes, thank you, girl.
There's more.
And this year, Sears has all the must-have gifts for family and friends. Plus, they offer great holiday deals. With the Sears gift card, you can purchase gifts ranging from watches to boots to home decor. And they work at Kmart's Lands End, too. And guess what? You guys are all going home with a $150 Sears gift card.
You know? And if that wasn't enough, the maddest genius of comedy is back on the big screen and back on the road with his Web Self-Destruction Tour and back here on The View. Please welcome one of my oldest friends and one of the greatest in the world, Robin Williams.
Time for a little hero sex. We're going to do a water landing, baby. I want you to step out on the wing and put on a flotation device.
Flotation device? I mean, because you went through open heart surgery and your body handled all that?
Everything after open heart surgery. The weird thing is, after the surgery, you get very emotional. And I thought, instead of a valve, they gave me a tiny vagina. He's like, How you doing? Much better now.
Were you bursting?
It's a male fantasy. It's a tiny vagina.
Yeah, what are you doing? Big one? Welcome now, part 2. I'm going in. We're going in. What are you doing? It's like spelunking.
So you're feeling good. You're on the road. The show is great. I saw it last night.
I'm glad you came last night. It was Town Hall, which was nice because I've been playing all these huge, I mean, sometimes arenas, sometimes Indian casinos, which is hard. You meet guys from the tribe going, what's your name? Johnny sits with a full house. But it's been pretty crazy. It's nice to be back out.
You were 80 days in to the tour, right?
Yeah, after the surgery, there was like about, I think there was a couple of months before the surgery, then I took 3 months off after the surgery, and then, you know, went back out again. But it's been great.
What was the best part of the surgery?
The aftermath. Amazing. I want to thank my anesthesiologist, but I can't remember his name. You're like this, like, hey, how are you, man? I had the surgery in Cleveland because the Cleveland Clinic is amazing. And I woke up from the surgery and I go, where am I? And they went, Cleveland. Why? But it was amazing because it works so much better now.
But don't you think the stress of the road might have contributed to the heart?
No, I think it was congenital. I think it was
congenital.
I know that's a big word now.
That's too bad.
People go, what do you go? Don't go there. But it was, I think it was just something that just blew out. It was like, I had a blown valve, which makes me sound like a Chevrolet. You know?
Yeah.
You got a blown valve, Rabbo. And they started offering me choices like porcine, you know, a pig valve, which would be cool because then you're already inoculated for swine flu. But then you can also find truffles, which is fun. But it's been interesting, and I have a cow valve, which is nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did you take the time to recover though? Because you seem like you have so much energy. How did
Well,
you even get to settle?
I mean, you have to settle. It's literally, it's not a question like, get up! No.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't be running around, especially if you're on the wires. They have these little, like, defibrillator wires that hang out. So you're like, okay, you be running around? Not today.
Not today.
You literally are walking around the hall like an old Jew, like, nice to be here. Hello. Okay, let's go back to the room now. There'll be no hero sex today.
Robin, this has been... The last 3 years you have made it through. It's been a rough road for you because you had to.
Interesting, yeah. I mean, I went to rehab. I actually went to rehab in wine country just to keep my options open.
Yeah. How did you come through all of this? You're so positive. I mean, how did you come through? You had surgery, then, you know, you checked into rehab, and yet you still smile.
I think because it's just great to be alive. You know, you really, I'm so grateful for everything. You really are. I mean, I am, because of the surgery and you're coming out of rehab, you just realize that life is a gift. And if you don't come through it that way, it's like, what are you doing it for?
How's the funny? Because is it easier to do it straight now?
Much, because when you're loaded, it's kind of like, what did I say? Yeah. It's much more interesting because you take responsibility for it. It's like because sometimes the other way, you're just kind of doing it and you don't get the feedback. But now you have to kind of take its consequences, and you realize that. I mean,
Were you afraid of bombing? Is that what caused you to start doing drugs?
No, it was drinking.
Drinking?
No, drinking. I was actually in Alaska, and I started. I got a little.
Well, that makes sense.
Then it makes. Yeah. What are you doing? It's not the end of the world, but you can see it from here.
Good one.
Robin, let's
The first time I had a drink, it was a little bottle of Jack Daniels about this big, a bottle that couldn't even get a midget loaded.
Yeah.
And I thought, it'll be fine. And, you know, I had one bottle going, I'm okay. And a week later, it was like, you know, that's just tip of the iceberg. Let's do this.
When did you, I just wanted to say, when did you know I've got to stop? Because a lot of folks go and go and go and go and deny and deny.
You literally get to the bottom and you realize you just truly, you exhaust all of your options. And it's like you really are to the point where there's no other choice. You have to bottom out. You literally have to just go, that's it. And you basically go to everybody. And then finally it's like, it's just you. And that, I give up. And then when that moment you surrender, that's when it begins. That's when you have to go, okay, I can't do this.
It's interesting that I don't think you ever get into trouble for being politically incorrect, do you?
Sometimes.
Do you really?
I mean, when I was looking at the pictures of Sheikh Khalid Muhammad, I think he looks like Ron Jeremy, the porn actor.
Oh, my goodness. Robin! Robin!
I was like,
What's sick about this is it's true.
Yeah. You know what? Let's tell your movie, Old Dogs, is you and John Travolta. You guys,
a sweet man.
He is wonderful.
I've known him for 30 years, and 30 years ago, when I was drinking then, he and I got drunk and we crashed a black wedding in Santa Barbara.
Oh, yeah?
It was pretty wonderful because people thought we were both impersonators, and then finally they realized, no, that really is Mork. And Vinnie Barbarino, this is going to be a great wedding, girl. And it was,
Did you really do that?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. It was pretty crazy.
Well, this is what's so great is seeing you guys together on Old Dogs. You play best friends who suddenly have to take care of these 6-year-old twins.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I imagine that, especially because a lot of the jokes are based on the fact that when we come into places like restaurants with these little kids, they treat us like, oh, it's Grandparents' Day. And that's kind of the worst nightmare for a 58-year-old guy going, I'm not a grandparent, you know? I'm not that old. Really?
Well, in this clip that we have, you accidentally mix up John's medication.
We both, because at a certain age, pretty much men my age are now, you end up being on all sorts of different medications with horrible side effects like rectal ventriloquism. Yeah, I hate that. How you doing? Not bad.
With that, let's show a clip of the medication that got mixed up with the kids. Let's show this clip.
Oh, I knew it. Oh, gosh. Breathe. Just breathe through it. Walk it off. Walk it off. We're good. We're good. Just passes and then a minute comes back.
So, listen. Because this is going way too well, we're going to go and come back with Robin Williams some more.
Be right back.
Did you do this?
Oh, yeah.
Did you bring them in?
Definitely.
Why?
You described this house as being a dangerous place for kids, so best child proofers there are.
Even I know you do not baby-proof a house for a 7-year-old. Sir, you got a flamethrower for a fireplace. You know, it's a fashion, it's a style.
The spears? What kind of guy buys poison-tipped spears?
1,000 years ago, they were poison. I don't know if they're poison now.
You bought those 1,000 years ago?
No.
That was a scene from Old Dogs, starring Robin Williams. Robin, before you leave, I have to hear your take on the new book by Sarah Palin, Going Rogue.
I went looking for it, and I found it in the fantasy section, which is kind of... I mean, it's kind of wonderful. No. I mean, I think she's quite fascinating. Who knew that Katie Couric was the cutting edge of journalism? I didn't know that when she accused her of ambush questions like, what do you read?
I know, yeah.
You know, that's a trick question, not if you read. No, really. I mean, it'd be interesting to read it eventually just to kind of go, wow, I heard there's a lot of blame being thrown around. Oh, wow.
She's a victim.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, and was McCain just a perpetrator?
Well, yeah, he was part of the cabal against her.
A cabal against her?
Cabal,
Well,
yeah.
that's pretty frightening.
He's the only man who can make me laugh about this stuff, honestly.
Oh, baby, let it go. It's over.
Let it go.
I think only because of you I can now.
I know, but it is that way. Then you have to kind of laugh at it.
But don't you miss George Bush for material?
Well,
I
you
mean,
know, the
there
great
was a
thing is
front.
now George is out giving motivational
I
speeches,
know.
which is kind of like having Lindsay Lohan as a guidance counselor. And I love the fact they're going to open the George W. Bush Library.
Yes.
Which to me is like the Colonel Sanders Culinary Academy. And they're saying they're going to make it interactive, which I think is code for not so many books.
Yeah.
It'll be like, welcome to the George W. Bush Library. That's it. Thanks for coming. It's like, no, it's up. You have to look at W and realize he comes from a family with a smart brother's named Jeb. So you got to cut him some slack. Right now you're about to explode.
See, this is the great thing. She's hysterical. She's laughing hysterical because it's funny.
It's comedy.
It's cathartic. It's
It
cathartic.
actually is. I need more of you, Robin. I
Oh,
really
baby,
do.
it's all right. They go, this world is so cruel. Oh my God, but it's interesting right now. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I mean, the whole thing, even with the economy right now, it's bizarre. I think they're going to put out the Geithner $20 bill. You know, it'll be like, instead of "In God We Trust," you just say, "Trust me." And instead of Andrew Jackson, it'll be the little man from Monopoly going. It's like, because we're really broke. We're trying to get through all this.
Very bad.
What about Bernie?
Oh, Bernie. Oh, my
Madoff.
Madoff. Oh, my God, Bernie. Oh, my God. He's in prison now, which is... That's insider trading is a whole other game. Oh, we're going to do a little special game right now. We're going to see,
I want you guys to know this. I'm cracking up. Okay. You, Whoopi, Billy Crystal, you guys have been doing comic relief since 1986.
Right.
Comic relief has raised over 50. Look at this. But
That was
comic
just
relief.
us at home.
Comic Relief has raised over $50 million to help the homeless.
Right.
I just got to know, because you are so fun, what is it like being with Whoopi and Billy Crystal when you three are together?
It's pretty wild. It's like freeform because it's like jazz because we each set each other up. I mean, everybody has a specialty.
Yeah.
I mean, Whoopi has hers, I have mine, and then Billy's kind of like, I think, like the sender, really, don't you think? And you and I kind of orbit around him.
Yes.
And I do weird things. He goes, come back, little man.
What's Whoopi's specialty?
Oh, God, I think just being full out truthful.
Yeah.
I think she's like Richard in that way, that she's honest and says things that are just like, she speaks from her heart, deep. From the point even I'm going, good luck, girl. You're like, I think that's what you do here. That's kind of what you've always done, and it's been interesting to see doing the same thing. I mean, and there's consequences, and you're more fearless than I am sometimes because you'll say things, and even I'm going, okay, good luck.
Well, you say them so fast they can't catch you.
Yeah, I think that's it.
That's it.
But it's wild. I mean, when we did the show, I mean, it was pretty amazing, and the amount of money we raised was just kind of. It was necessary because it was just basically for medical relief for the homeless, and it's still a problem. You know, it's huge.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes they should change the Statue of Liberty from, you know, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses to a big blackjack dealer going, anybody want insurance? It's like, it's pretty crazy.
Are you tweeting?
No, I can't. I really...
Why not? Whoopi doesn't tweet either.
I don't tweet because, to me, the next step is stalker, you know? I mean, is it rude? I mean, is it rude to tweet during sex to go, OMG, OMG? Is that rude? I don't tweet. I really find myself to be technologically inadept in that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I had one tweet, and it was, I'm on the road. That's it.
That was it?
Yeah, I couldn't do it anymore.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
We
you guys.
love it. Thank you. Old Dogs hit theaters tomorrow, and we're going to be right back.
I'm Bill Getty. YouTube has been taking you behind the curtain and showing you what happens around here before, during, and after the show.
Brothers and Sisters is a hit drama that takes you places other shows don't, like exposing what guys really talk about at bachelor parties. Take a look.
Speaking of doctors, do you hear what Sarah found out about Simon?
This should be interesting.
Apparently, he has 2 pretty major malpractice lawsuits against him.
Scotty, every doctor has a malpractice suit against him. That's Sarah being a baby.
Speaking of which, have you and Rebecca thought about when you want to start a family?
Oh, no. What kind of conversation is this? This is a bachelor party, not The View.
What's wrong with The View? I like The View. It's one of the best shows on TV.
I don't believe you guys. Can we please change the subject?
Aha! Please welcome Matthew Rhys. Very funny. What's wrong with The View? You know, it's funny, talking to you backstage, everyone keeps saying how you have perfected the American accent on the show. Because you're from South Wales.
I am, yes. That's very kind of you to say. There are times, especially when I'm acting with Rachel Griffiths, who's from Australia, where we do have to stop because we're where we are at times. it gets a little messy.
So what's your secret? Do you listen to anyone in particular to sort of nail it?
Yes, I do. I sort of, you know, we grew up with American television, so you always have a reference.
Okay. Who's yours?
I remember, funnily enough, for the audition of Brothers and Sisters, I listened to George Clooney as much as possible.
You did? Okay.
I did. I think if you can impersonate someone, you might as well go to the top. Go to the top, yes. If I'm not going to look like him, I'll sound like him.
There's one, is it a town in South Wales that has this name that I was reading? It must have 75 letters in it, right?
Yes, it's in North Wales, actually. It's one of the longest...
What is it?
Llanfair pwll gwyngyll go geryll chwyn robot llandasilio go go goch.
Spell it.
How long have we got?
Wow. And what is the relation?
Yes. It's about a woman called Mary who near where a church is, and there's a rapid whirlpool near a hazel tree by the church of Tasilio near a red cave.
Good.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. It's like directions.
You still would get lost, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's pretty horrific.
I was reading in your bio that you had a very embarrassing thing happen to you. I must hear what it was.
Oh, was that when I got mugged?
Yeah.
That one.
Tell them that story.
It wasn't not long ago. I was out with a childhood friend of mine, is Johan Griffith, who plays Mr. Fantastic on the Fantastic Four films. And we were out celebrating his birthday, and I celebrated with great aplomb and a little too much. Anyway, he very gallantly carried me home, and as we were walking up High Street in London, I have no recollection of this. This is what I was told the next day. We were approached by a pregnant lady who asked us to hand over our money. And he thought she was joking, and he was holding me up at the time. And she reached into my pocket and pulled out my wallet and my money. And there was this standoff between him and her where he held me and thought, do I drop him and go after a pregnant woman, or do I just let this one go? So the next morning I woke up and I said, I can't find my wallet, my cash. And he said, yeah, we were mugged by a pregnant woman. I said, all right, so what did you do? And he said, well, Nothing, really. I was holding you up at the time. So it wasn't a great moment in our friendship.
But I want to ask, you know, it's just, I want to ask you about brothers and sisters. That's funny. You get mugged by a pregnant woman.
I know.
Wow.
What I'm upset about is I wasn't actually coherent enough to know what happened. I'm sure it was a great...
Neither was she when she got knocked up.
No.
See, that's what happens when, you know.
No, I know. It's a slippery slope.
I had wanted to ask you about brothers and sisters, where on the show, your character, Kevin, is married to Scotty. You're gay on the show, but you're actually straight. So when people are out, do they think that you're gay, or do they think that you're straight?
Occasionally, I get sort of, you know...
You're getting hit on?
Yes, by both sexes, which is
That's good.
very complimentary, yes.
And speaking, I mean, because it's so cute that your accent is so adorable. You have such crazy stories, and you're single. No, I'm doing this with my fingernail like this.
I like
you're
it.
single. Thank you.
Getting ready to make a move. Let's watch.
I am not. I was gonna ask. It was just with my fingernail. I was gonna ask because you're single.
Yes.
What are you looking for in a woman?
Oh, what a question. Many things. I think...
Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah. And for the ladies, because there's a lot of single ladies, I should say.
Primarily, it's always humor that makes...
sense of humor?
Absolutely.
Oh, humor.
You know,
Sherri's got humor. She thinks things are funny.
I've noticed.
And she's funny.
I've noticed.
You never know, so maybe, I don't know, you guys can talk.
We should have dinner.
You're a very nice guy, Matthew. We're glad you came by. Brothers and Sisters, as you know, air Sunday nights for ABC at 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll be right back. I want to see your big character get the baby, right?
Too much. We have information on our website about the largest crib recall in history, and it was just announced, so go to view.com. Then you can go see that we're sending love to Regis because he's having his hip replaced. And we are giving everybody in this audience Angels, which just came out. See, it was that good. So now, just for a second, that crib recall is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my bad.
Did you just have some gas?
Very well. I happen to have it in my hand. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh, your African-American berry is in your hands, I see. So in any case, that crib thing is crazy. So if you want information, you really need to pay attention to this if you have babies with cribs. Or a crib with a baby that goes up. Have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the view.